Skyrim is a game that is constantly watching you. It tracks your level, your location, your faction status, every decision you've made. It has all this information at its disposal at all times, and it still has absolutely no idea what's going on. So today I'm breaking down every weird system hiding under the surface of this game, starting with the one responsible for most of the chaos you've already experienced: encounters. Every time you walk through Skyrim's open world, you're walking through a minefield of invisible trigger points. There are over 80 of them scattered across the map, and each one is basically a slot machine. You step on it, the game rolls the dice, and something spawns. Could be a traveling noble with bodyguards, could be a dragon fighting a giant, could be a man in a loincloth sprinting toward you in a blizzard to hand you a letter about property you don't care about. That's the courier, by the way. The single most dedicated employee in all of Tamriel. This man will find you inside a Dwemer ruin, at the top of the throat of the world, in the middle of a vampire attack, wearing nothing but a tunic and an attitude. He has zero survival instincts and perfect GPS. I don't know what to tell you. The system behind all of this is called leveled encounters. Bethesda wanted the world to feel alive, so they built massive tables of possible events tied to your level, your quest progress, and your location. The problem is, the system has absolutely no sense of context. It doesn't know what's appropriate, it just knows what's technically possible. So a low-level player can wander into a revered dragon meant for endgame characters, while a level 50 dragonborn who has killed literal gods still gets stopped by 3 wolves. Hired thugs sent by the owner of a chicken you killed in Riverwood will track you across the entire province to avenge poultry. And here's the thing, these NPCs have no memory. They spawn, deliver their function, and then either despawn or immediately get killed by a nearby bear. The noble with the bodyguards, dead within 15 seconds of loading in. The random adventurer who challenged you to a duel, eaten by a saber cat before finishing his sentence. The world isn't a living ecosystem, it's a theme park staffed by confused NPCs who materialized 4 seconds ago and have no idea where they are. But if the encounter system feels chaotic, wait until you see how Skyrim handles something that should be straightforward, like religion. Skyrim has the single most non-committal religious system in gaming history. There are 9 divines, 17 Daedric princes, shrines scattered across every hold, temples staffed with devoted priests, and an entire civil war being fought over the right to worship one specific god. And your character can treat the whole thing like a buffet. Here's how it works. You walk up to a shrine of Akatosh, the dragon god of time, and you activate it, you get a blessing. 10% faster magicka regeneration. Great, you are now presumably a follower of Akatosh. You then walk 40 feet to the left, find a shrine of Archay, and activate that instead. Your Akatosh blessing vanishes. Replaced, gone. Archay is your guy now. Akatosh doesn't send you a strongly worded letter, no divine punishment, no lightning bolt, nothing, but that's the mild version. The real insanity starts with the Daedric princes. You can walk into Meridia's temple, a being who despises the undead with every fiber of her existence, complete her quest, receive her artifact, and become her champion. Then you can immediately walk over to Molag Bal, the Daedric prince of domination and vampirism, beat a priest to death with a mace for him, and become his champion too. Neither of them says a word about it. You are simultaneously the chosen warrior of the anti-undead crusader and the lord of the undead, which is, not ideal from a theological consistency standpoint, and you can do this with every single Daedric prince, all 15 available quests. You just collect their artifacts like loyalty cards at a coffee shop. Ah yes, I see you've pledged your eternal soul to 11 different cosmic entities this month. Here's your free mace. But here's where it gets genuinely absurd. The entire Skyrim civil war is being fought because the Thalmor banned the worship of Talos. Nords are literally dying in the streets over this. Ulfric Stormcloak launched a rebellion. Soldiers on both sides are bleeding out in the snow because of a theological disagreement, and your character can just walk up to any hidden Talos shrine, pray at it, get a blessing, and walk away. People are fighting a war over something you can do on your lunch break with zero repercussions. The gods of Skyrim have exactly zero jealousy, zero exclusivity, and zero standards. As long as you can find the shrine, you're in. No questions asked, but if you think the religion system is weird, wait until you see how Skyrim handles its dead. Graveyards. Skyrim is quietly keeping score on you, and it's displaying the results in a public building. Every major hold capital has a Hall of the Dead, a crypt managed by a priest of Archay where the city's deceased are laid to rest. Most players walk past these places without a second thought, maybe duck in once to grab a quest or loot a burial urn, then never return. But here's the thing, the Hall of the Dead isn't just set dressing, it's a dynamic system that updates in real time based on which named NPCs have died during your playthrough. Every single one. When a named NPC dies, whether by dragon attack, vampire raid, or you shoving them off a cliff because they said something rude about your armor, the game generates a corresponding urn or coffin in the local Hall of the Dead. Their name goes on it. Sometimes their belongings end up inside. The game is literally filing death certificates certificates for your victims and putting them on display. This creates what is essentially a murder museum you're building without realizing it. Players who go on rampages in Whiterun and then wander into the Hall of the Dead 20 hours later find it packed with urns bearing names they vaguely recognize. Oh right, Adrienne, she did make good swords. Shame about what happened. The game doesn't judge you, it just quietly documents everything and moves on like a very patient accountant who happens to work in a morgue. But here's where it gets unsettling. The priests of Arcade just go about their business regardless of how many urns pile up. They'll offer you the same calm blessings whether the hall holds 3 urns or 30. Nobody acknowledges the growing collection. No guard comments on it. The game built an entire tracking system around your body count and then gave 0 NPCs the awareness to react to it. You're committing a slow motion genocide and the mortician just keeps sweeping the floor. And because this is Skyrim, naturally, the system is broken in creative ways. Players have found urns for NPCs who are still very much alive, just walking around town with a grave already prepared for them, which is, not ideal. On the flip side, some NPCs you definitely killed never get an urn at all. No record, no coffin, nothing. The bureaucracy of death in Skyrim is exactly as reliable as every other system in the game, which is to say it works about 80% of the time, and the other 20% is pure chaos. But if the death system is quietly judging you, wait until you see how the economy handles your existence, because Skyrim's merchants have problems that make ghost urns look reasonable. Economy. Skyrim's economy was designed for a world where the player buys a few iron swords and maybe splurges on a house. It was not designed for a world where the player becomes an industrialist alchemist pumping out potions worth more than entire cities. And yet here we are. Every merchant in Skyrim operates on a finite gold pool. Most shopkeepers carry somewhere between 500 and 750 gold. The wealthiest merchants in the entire province, the Thieves Guild Fences, max out at around 4,000 gold. That's it. That's the ceiling. The richest buyer in all of Skyrim can be completely bankrupted by selling them 2 enchanted swords. The Dragonborn walks in with a bag full of legendary gear, and Bellathor is over there scraping together pocket change like he's buying lunch. But here's where the real comedy kicks in. Merchant gold resets every 48 in-game hours. So what does every single player eventually do? They sell 3 items, hit the wait button, stand motionless inside the shop for 2 full days, sell 3 more items, and repeat. You are the most powerful being on the continent. You have killed dragons and bent reality with your voice, and you are standing perfectly still inside a general store in Whiterun for 48 hours because Bellathor doesn't have 2,000 septims. Hey Bellathor, it's me again. You got any money yet? Cool. Here's 1 sword. The pricing system has absolutely 0 concept of supply and demand. A merchant in a tiny fishing village values a Daedric warhammer identically to a merchant in the capital city of Solitude. Location, scarcity, relevance, none of it matters. Every shopkeeper operates on the same flat pricing table like they all attended the same economics class and nobody passed. Now, the real problem. Alchemy and enchanting. Players figured out very early that you can craft potions and enchanted items worth tens of thousands of gold. A single potion can hit 5,000 septims. An enchanted piece of gear can reach 15,000 or higher, but no merchant in the entire province can afford to buy even one of them at full price. You've created an item worth more than every shop in Whiterun combined, and your only option is to sell it at a 90% loss with a 2-day waiting period. The economy wasn't broken by a glitch. It was broken by the player doing exactly what the game told them to do, and by mid-game, gold itself becomes meaningless. You accumulate tens of thousands of septims with literally nothing to spend them on. The best gear is player crafted, houses are a one-time purchase, training caps at 5 levels per character level, so you just become a dragon-slaying hoarder, sitting on a mountain of coins with no functional banking system, no investments, no property empire, just a chest and breeze home stuffed with 80,000 septims that will never serve any purpose, which is, not ideal. But if you think the economy handles items poorly, wait until you see what it does with food. Food. Skyrim has over 50 cooking recipes, soups, stews, roasts, pies, you name it. There are cooking pots in nearly every home, every inn, every bandit camp. The game practically begs you to engage with this system. It's one of the most visually prominent mechanics in the entire world. It is also one of the most useless. Here's the thing, cooked food in Skyrim restores health over time. We're talking 1 to 2 points per second for a short duration. That sounds fine until you remember that a basic health potion, the kind you find in literally every barrel and chest in the game, restores 50 or more health instantly. No waiting, no ticking, just immediate recovery. So the entire cooking system is essentially a trap for new players who wander into Whiterun, see the cooking pot next to Carlotta's stall, and think, oh cool, I should probably make some vegetable soup for my adventures. You shouldn't. Carry potions. You're done. But Bethesda didn't just make a few token recipes and call it a day. They went deep. There are recipes requiring multiple rare ingredients, elaborate multi-step meals that take genuine effort to assemble, and the reward reward for all that effort is a healing effect so weak that you'd recover more health by just standing still and waiting for your natural regeneration to kick in. It's like building an entire restaurant kitchen in your house and then only using it to heat up water. Technically functional, practically pointless. Now, years after launch, Bethesda added survival mode as a free creation club edition. Suddenly food matters because you need to eat regularly or suffer stat penalties. Your character gets hungry, their stats degrade, and cooking becomes essential, which is great, except it's also basically Bethesda admitting that the food system shipped without a reason to exist. They built the entire infrastructure, all the recipes, all the cooking pots, all the ingredients, and then forgot to make any of it matter. Survival mode isn't a feature, it's a patch for a design oversight that took years to address. But here's where it gets really beautiful. While cooked food is worthless, raw ingredients are incredibly powerful. Eating raw ingredients triggers their alchemical effects, which means the optimal combat strategy in Skyrim involves the legendary Dragonborn, Slayer of Alduin, shoving fistfuls of raw nightshade into their mouth mid-sword fight, or biting into a giant's toe. Or, and I genuinely wish I was making this up, consuming a human heart between dragon attacks for a temporary health boost. That's not a glitch. That's the intended mechanic. The game looked at 50 carefully designed cooking recipes and said, nah, just eat the raw toe, it's better. So to summarize, Skyrim built an entire cooking system with dozens of recipes, placed cooking pots in every corner of the map, and created a cozy homestead aesthetic around preparing meals. And the mechanically correct way to play is to ignore all of it and eat raw, poisonous plants like a feral raccoon, which is, not ideal. But if you think a useless food system is bad game design, wait until you hear how Skyrim handles crime. Skyrim has 9 holds, which are basically counties. Each hold tracks crime independently. And when I say independently, I mean they have zero communication with each other. You can walk into Whiterun, kill every single person you see, rack up a bounty so high it would make a dragon blush, and then stroll into Riften 5 minutes later like a perfectly upstanding citizen. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. The guards in Riften will nod at you politely while Whiterun is still on fire. It's like if every state in America just refused to share criminal records. Oh, you murdered 40 people in Ohio? Welcome to Indiana, here's a complimentary cheese wheel. But the real magic of Skyrim's crime system is how it decides a crime even happened in the first place. The entire thing runs on witnesses. If no NPC has direct line of sight when you commit a crime, it didn't happen. You could kill someone in broad daylight in the middle of the town square, and if every other NPC happened to be looking the other way, clean record. The perfect murder in Skyrim isn't about planning or stealth, it's about geometry. And then there's the chicken thing. If you kill a chicken in a town, the entire settlement turns hostile and tries to end you. Guards, shopkeepers, farmers, everyone. Because the chicken's death registers as a crime observed by nearby NPCs, and those NPCs respond accordingly. Chickens are functionally the most protected citizens in all of Skyrim. You can shout a man off a cliff and get a slap on the wrist. Touch a chicken and the entire economy of Riverwood mobilizes to destroy you. Now, when guards do catch you, they offer 3 options: pay your bounty, go to jail, or resist arrest. But there are 2 hidden options nobody tells you about. If you're a high-ranking member of the Thieves Guild, you can bribe the guard to look the other way. And if you're a Thane of that hold, you can literally pull rank and have the bounty dismissed entirely. Do you know who I am? I'm the Thane. Crime erased. Which is, not ideal from a justice standpoint. Here's where it gets really beautiful though. The bounty system has no escalation and no statute of limitations. Whether you stole a sweet roll worth 2 gold or massacred an entire village worth thousands, it's all just a number, and you can pay it off instantly. Every crime in Skyrim is technically just a fee. If you're rich enough, laws are suggestions, which accidentally makes Skyrim one of the most realistic crime simulations ever made, just not in the way Bethesda intended. But the absolute crown jewel is the witness loophole. If you commit a crime and a witness sees you, a bounty gets assigned. But if you kill that witness before they report it, and then kill every other witness who saw you kill the first witness, and you keep going until there's nobody left alive who saw anything, the bounty disappears. The game literally rewards you for escalating a petty theft into a mass casualty event, as long as you're thorough about it. Stole an apple? That's 5 gold. Got caught stealing an apple and then killed 11 people to cover it up? That's free. But if you think the law in Skyrim is absurd, wait until you see how it handles love. Marriage Skyrim has a dating app, and it's a necklace. The Amulet of Mara is a piece of jewelry you equip that broadcasts to every eligible NPC in the game that you are romantically available. You don't flirt, you don't court anyone, you don't take them on a date or learn their favorite color. You put on a necklace, and suddenly 66 characters across Skyrim look at you and think, yeah, I could see myself spending the rest of my life with that person. That's it. That's the system. But here's where it gets truly beautiful. The requirements to actually marry most of these 66 candidates are so laughably transactional that it makes reality TV dating shows look like Shakespeare. You want to marry someone? complete one favor quest for them, chop some wood, deliver a letter, kill a bandit that's been bothering them. Congratulations, they are now deeply in love with you and ready to commit to a lifelong partnership. Hey, you brought me that mammoth tusk I asked for. I think you're the one. That's not romance, that's a rewards program, and the wedding itself is even better. Once you propose, the ceremony takes place at the Temple of Mara in Riften, and you have exactly 24 in-game hours to show up. If you miss the window, the engagement is cancelled. No rescheduling. No sorry, I got caught up fighting a dragon. It's over. Skyrim treats wedding planning with the urgency of a hostage negotiation. You either show up on time or you die alone. Which is, not ideal. Once you're married, your spouse moves into your home, opens a small store, and generates roughly 100 gold per day that you can collect whenever you want. They'll also cook you a homemade meal once a day. So marriage in Skyrim is functionally a passive income stream with a cooking bonus. Your life partner is a revenue-generating appliance that occasionally says nice things to you. The Dragonborn didn't find love, they found a small business opportunity, and about those nice things, your spouse has approximately 4 lines of dialogue that they rotate through every single time you walk into your house. Is that you, dear? Hello, my love. Over and over and over. Across hundreds of hours of gameplay, this stops being endearing and starts being psychological warfare. By hour 200, you're not coming home to a loving partner. You're coming home to a broken record that also sells firewood. But here's the kicker. You cannot get divorced. There is zero mechanism in the base game to end a marriage. None. The only way out is if your spouse dies. And even then, Skyrim doesn't let you remarry through normal means. You're locked into eternal widowhood. The Dragonborn can absorb dragon souls, manipulate time itself, and literally shout people off mountains, but they cannot file paperwork at a family court. Some players have found workarounds through very specific conditions or mods, but the vanilla game just looks at you and says, no, you made your choice when you chopped that wood. Live with it. A world with magic, dragons, and interdimensional portals to the realm of the dead, but no divorce lawyers. I don't know what to tell you. But if you think Skyrim's approach to marriage is rigid, wait until you see how it handles putting you in jail. Prisons. Going to jail in Skyrim is, without exaggeration, the least intimidating experience in the history of criminal justice. You get arrested, thrown in a cell, and you serve your sentence by taking a nap. The game literally skips forward in time, you wake up, and you walk out a free citizen. Incarceration in Skyrim is a particularly aggressive sleep schedule and nothing more, and the sentences are hilarious. Time served scales with your bounty, but even the most catastrophic crime sprees result in a few in-game days behind bars. You could murder half of Whiterun, get caught, and be back on the streets in about a week. No record, no social stigma. The guard who arrested you for slaughtering his colleagues will give you a friendly nod on your way out. Stay out of trouble. Sure thing, buddy. Absolutely will not do that. But here's the thing. The game does technically punish you, and the punishment is one of the weirdest design choices in the entire game. Serving time causes you to lose progress toward your next skill level in random skills. Not actual levels, not perks, just the progress bar. So prison in Skyrim doesn't rehabilitate you, it just makes you slightly dumber. You walk in knowing how to smith a Daedric sword and walk out having forgotten how hammers work. Justice. Now here's where it gets genuinely funny. Every single jail cell in Skyrim has an escape route. Everyone. There's always a lockpick hidden somewhere, or a crumbling wall, or a loose grate leading to a conveniently unguarded tunnel. Bethesda designed every prison to be fundamentally breakable, as if the architects were actively sabotaging the justice system. Yeah, we built the jail. Also, we left a massive hole in the wall and a lockpick under the bed. Good luck. If you escape, your bounty stays active, but if you successfully sneak out of the hold, you've gotten away with it. No manhunt, no increased bounty. The system literally rewards jailbreaking, and it gets better. Your stolen items get placed in an evidence chest inside the prison. An unlocked evidence chest inside the building you're actively escaping from. So you can break out, grab everything the guards confiscated, and leave with more stuff than you came in with. I don't know what to tell you. The one exception is the Sidna mine quest in Markarth. That's the only prison that actually functions as a real narrative experience, with characters, stakes, and genuine tension. It's widely considered one of Skyrim's best quests, which proves that when Bethesda actually tried with the prison system, they nailed it. They just only tried once. And finally, players have discovered you can go to jail, serve your time, walk out the front door, and immediately commit another crime. Get arrested again, serve time again, walk out again. Over and over, in an infinite loop the guards never find suspicious. Back again, huh? Yeah, I live here now. Recidivism in Skyrim isn't a problem, it's a lifestyle. And honestly, that's a perfect summary of every system we've talked about today. Skyrim's mechanics are broken, bizarre, and held together with the game design equivalent of duct tape and optimism. But that's exactly why people are still playing it over a decade later. The weirdness isn't a flaw, it's the entire appeal. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.